Welcome back, everyone. This is Akanar here with more Taiji. I'm so glad to be sitting down to solve some puzzles today. This has been a bit of a stressful week for me, to be honest. I had a very, very stressful exam yesterday, and I'm so glad that it is over. I think it went well. We'll see how it turns out. But it feels so good to be sitting down to some nice, relaxing, calming, even if they are sometimes very difficult, Taiji puzzles. This game has been a lot of fun, and I just have enjoyed the atmosphere overall. I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that every time that I've sat down to record this game, it's just such a relaxing experience. Even if my brain does break a little bit sometimes, as it has been with some of these environmental puzzles. I have been, once again, trying to mull over some ideas on these remaining three. Well, at least the mill and the gardens I was taking another look at here before rolling camera for real, and I still am stumped as heck. The only thing that I could potentially think of with the mill would be something like this, because maybe we'll revisit this later in the episode, but the only thing that stands out to me that is noticeable is the fact that that one lit cable kind of runs through the solar panels in this direction. And so the only thing I could, the wild guess that I have is, I know that the mill is supposed to be about making Tetris shapes. Like, this isn't a very standard or conventional Tetris shape, but like, what if we make the Taiji mirror of it here, and then we use the remainder to make a couple more Tetris shapes that match each other. And like, all of my wild guesses so far, pretty much all of my wild guesses, they don't turn out to be true, because there's just something that I haven't tuned into yet. Whatever pattern I'm supposed to notice with these just is escaping me. Now, so we'll think about those two maybe a little bit later. The other one that we haven't really spent any time on thinking about is this the snaky dance floors grid, because I just I looked a little bit. I went back to the area where they are on the map, and it doesn't, there's a 9x9 grid here. Well, with a couple squares missing. And I don't see how that lines up. So far, every other environmental puzzle has had, part of its area that has turned out to be involved in the EP puzzle grid. In the case of the snaky dance floors, that doesn't seem like it directly lines up with that actual area. It's a very small area in the grand scheme of things. There were really only just those two big dance floors that we had to solve. Was it the smallest area in the game, perhaps, in terms of time spent or puzzle count, one or the other? So what would line up is the question. They do give us right here next to the closest panel outside of the others that are located in the little 3x3 pressure plates arrangement, is this map panel that we use to activate these guys in the first place. I don't think they would, it feels really not correct that you would just take this panel like it is and redo it here on this board. But I don't know what else would work. If it is a 9x9 grid for that puzzle, and we know that the overall map can kind of be thought of as a 9x9 section, then how do we translate it? How do we make this work out? We're going to have to keep mulling that over, and I don't exactly know how long that's going to take me, as we are reaching. We're obviously playing post credits, and we're trying. I am the kind of player that I try to do everything. I am definitely a completionist at heart, but I also recognize that some games, the completionist nature, or the what needs to be done to actually achieve that 100% mark, it might take some time. If you're following, you know, my preferred method, which is to do it all myself. I am also the kind of player that I don't really get a lot of satisfaction out of looking something up. Or even taking hints, I'm very hesitant to do most of the time. So when you are documenting, when you are recording a playthrough on YouTube, that can kind of, it can be a little difficult to determine how to balance the finishing up a playthrough for an audience while also holding to those other constraints. So that is something that I'm mulling over exactly how we're going to handle that. For now, we will just focus on doing one puzzle at a time, as we've been doing for the whole playthrough. Now this episode, though, is going to probably involve a lot of puzzles that we have looked at once before. So hopefully this is the Fresh Brain OP episode. I did completely reset this puzzle, and I do remember I have some initial thoughts that are coming back here as to the we were just thinking about snaky, mazy dance floors, and it does feel like this was one of those puzzles where you had to snake across the board in a very particular way so as to not separate things in too painful of a way, or what is the word I'm going for here? You have to make everybody happy. All the diamonds have to be made happy. I guess we are only dealing with diamonds, so we only have to make one particular set of puzzle elements happy. Let's see if we can do that. The first constraint here that I'm remembering is the fact that we have these forced, well, they have a lot of forced diamond filled and empty squares. There are the white diamonds in particular do have, it looks like we're going to have to connect this diamond to this diamond. That needs to happen, right? And also this diamond to this diamond. That hopefully is the less complicated. This feels like this is going to be the more difficult one. In order to do that, I think we did determine that we had to start like this. Because we know that obviously this square is forced empty. This one kind of also has to be forced empty because of this. So in order to have this connect to anything else, we have to build a room through these two squares like this and that square as well. I think that is a forced fill up to that point. And now it's a question of, do we go here? Do we go here? And do we go here? Or do we go here? We want to connect the other constraint then with our cyan diamonds. We've got quite a few of them. There's a little more flexibility with them, perhaps. There's two that are in an empty space, and one of them happens to be very close to this white diamond. So how would this? Maybe we can think a little bit about how we would want to build. Would it make sense to build the white diamond in this direction? Perhaps. Another interesting thought here is, yeah, I think we also had determined that this black diamond had to be filled, right? Because you can't have, if this were empty, then these two here are never going to be happy. I think the logic holds on that. Can we keep identifying all the things that must happen, and then the puzzle just magically solves itself? That sounds like a good plan. Let's do that. Does this have to happen? So far we have... Is there ever a world where... I mean, it looks like these... I guess you could, theoretically, you could have this black diamond. You know, you could have them in a alternating pattern like this. So maybe... I might be getting out in front of my skis. That's not a forced move, I don't think. This is not a forced... Like, in fact, it could be much easier to leave those empty. We have to figure out how to get this diamond connected here. And at the same time, connect in... It really makes... I mean, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense. It could make sense to do this. It could make sense to do that, or it might be better to... It might be better to go like... this? So this is... Okay, I cannot do this actually because this cuts off... I could go like this. We could do this. This now makes a nice little conveniently... this room in the back. In the back. The room in the back. This room on the top right. For the 2 black and 2 cyan. Those would work out pretty nicely. And then this could connect... I was thinking, like, we bring in this... Yeah, this could work out. Now, I still haven't connected in a cyan diamond, and I don't think I want to actually yet. Like, I actually want to go like this, I think. I think we might be starting to get somewhere. But then I do have a problem with this guy. But it's not a problem if I fill it in. So maybe that's my fill. Can I make that work? Can I make that work? The only issue... There's not necessarily an issue. Because I could connect these two together. I feel like this is very close. Oh, wait a second. I don't have to connect this square here. Those 2 black squares or black diamonds could just be like that. And I could have these cyan and white diamonds here like this. And now this guy grabs this one. We are so close. Oh gosh. Yeah. Wait, no. I needed to bring this in like this, didn't I? Yes. Somehow, I think I had like I was like, of course that's gonna happen. And then I just didn't fill in those squares. Okay. Awesome. All right. +1. Now we are officially playing Taiji. We've got this panel here that I have not felt like approaching yet. And we're still going to keep warming up to that one. Let's give one... Let's try to see if we can fill out this... If we can complete these 2 puzzles, then we'll give a go, an initial go, at the big brain puzzles on the right over here. Yeah, this one. Okay. This one, I remember feeling when I first approached this one, like, this can't be that hard. How hard can this be? This is a very simple arrangement here, is it not? Like, shouldn't I be able to just go something like this? But then you quickly realize that the placement of these 2s is a bit dastardly. Dastardly, I say. Is it dastardly? Is that the word? Is that the lingo that we want to be using here? Because they can't go in the same room. These are shrine dots. They must remain to themselves. Every time those... What is the... I think I did look up this instrument. It was a... Can I remember what this was called? Yeah, there's actually a couple that it could be. They're both... There's a couple zither-like instruments. One is the... I guess... Forgive my pronunciation. The guzheng, which has like 21 or more strings. And then there's like a 7-stringed that's called the guqin. One way or the other. Whenever those strings, whatever instrument it is, the shrine dots show up and the strings get plucked. That theme is just so good. It's maybe my favorite part of the game. I like it a lot. What I am hoping to like just as much is getting a solution to this puzzle. I mean, there's only so many. There's only like this. The 2s have to be. There's only like 4 possible total arrangements for the two rooms, the two rooms. Like they could go like this, like this, or like this, right? It has to be one of those, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Doesn't it? If I put them like this, then how would I get... oh. No, wait a second. Wait a minute. I could go... Oh, that's how it is. I've got to use the empty space. I am sometimes... It might be my greatest weakness when it comes to Taiji, is just improper handling of empty space. Okay, so far, Fresh Brain OP, as always. Let's see if we can... God, that music is so good. Can we get the solve on this guy this time? What was the problem here? We kind of, I think... I seem to remember feeling like there were some forced arrangements on this board. Yeah, because okay, so they're forcing us to fill in these two single white squares, which does mean that we can't fill in these, right? These are going to immediately complain as soon as we fill those in. So we have to, these have to be empty, the two purple singles in the middle, which means that these have to be filled in order to make those rooms work out. Okay, like I think that has to happen. Dangerous words as always, but I think it's true. So where do we go from there? From there, okay, so from there I could do this, and I could do that, and I could do this. But I think I'm remembering the problem that I was running into the last time, is that the funkiness with this 4 funkiness. I think the only way to make this 4 happy is to build it similarly to this 4, correct? It's close enough to this forced arrangement in the middle that it kind of needs to connect. And it's, you know, of course it's forced to be filled in. So either it goes this way, right? Now, I guess it could go... Well, no, it can't go that way. That's the thing, is I can't do this because that's 5. So it kind of, I think, has to be this, or it has to be this. All these has to be's, man. Why does it have to be this way? Why can't I just live my best puzzle life? Could I do this? No, I've pissed the 3 off now. Can this 3 exist in a world? How do we make the 3? The 5 has to be in an empty space. It has to be in an empty space. We can't fill that square in. Let's presume for the moment that the 4 in the bottom left works like this. So if that happens, that means we could do... How do I make this 3 happy in an empty space? Can that be done? This 4, the yellow 4, plays by the same rules, does it not? Like I can't go... It has to go either here, or if it went here, then I don't think I can put the 3 in an empty space and also make the 5 happy, can I? It would have to go... I don't think there's a world where that works. I have to say, like, I don't know, if I'm looking for a flow solution, this feels like the start of it. And then it would, you know, if we could... Is there some... What's the way that I have not divided the board that I'm missing here? How have I failed to... There's something that I am... Gosh, dang it. It's the same problem. It's the same problem. What am I failing to recognize? I don't think I can put the 4 and the 3 together because then they would be connected to the single cyan. Like, it's at this point where I'm like wanting to go back and completely question that initial assumption of this all having to happen. Is there something about these silly shrine dots? Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Of course. There's another 4 up here that I can use. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Let me solve these other sub-problems down here first. That'll be much simpler. We break up the board into the sub-problems, and then you can solve the overall problem. Oh, you have to take that holistic approach. Yes, sub-problems are important, but they are ultimately sub-problems. They're not the entire problem. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. We get there in the end. These all get solved. We're gonna start with the smaller panel over here. We're gonna start with, we're gonna work from right to left, just because this is the way that this silhouette is facing, right? We're gonna work from the back of the brain to the front of the brain. That's how things work. Also, another thing that I'm reminded of is the fact that there are a bunch of colored outlined panels in... Wait a second. Okay, there's another little detail here. Why is it that... My brain. Cat laser brain here. Bear with me. So we have these colored outline pressure plates that are strewn all about the puzzle world. But then for this one here, it has a darker yellow when I... just right now, and then when I put my mouse over it, it turns to a brighter yellow. What's that all about? Is that even important? Is noticing that these panels exist even important? So many questions still. Like, another question that I wonder about is there additional content locked behind the environmental puzzles? Like, who knows? The end might not even be close. Okay, all right. Cat laser brain. Let's focus back in and actually solve the next puzzle. Shrine dots, our favorite. Lots of constraints as well on those shrine dots. Are there actually... There's only one, I think, on the entire board that we have a choice as to whether it gets filled in or not. And even then, is there even a choice? I feel like that is just also forced. Now, from there, we may have some choices. Maybe, maybe not. But it does feel like there is so much that is being dictated for us, given these constraints, which I'm okay with. Give me some guardrails here, please. I kind of need them. Let me also remember to count squares correctly for each of these. Can I go like this? This one is feeling... There's a Taiji flow feeling that I'm getting for this one. And I'm just kind of rolling with it and seeing where it goes. Does that get us there? Embrace the flow. All right, we're gonna have to adjust the flow ever so slightly. Oh, but we can do... That is 6, which I can now say is... Okay, yeah, this is where we've got some empty space to play with. Everything else here, there could be some tweaks to these other... Oh, there's this one here as well that I have completely boxed off. So maybe my flow approach... Oh, I could do this. How would that... No, but then these guys are gonna have issues. It felt really pretty nice the way that this gets segmented, but the problem then is this 7 right here. What are we doing about that? So maybe I need to back off to what I know was required. Let's do a reset, because I think I was getting out in front of my skis. I feel like that has to happen, and I feel like that has to happen. Okay? We can start simple. Start there. And I think also that has to happen. Otherwise, this guy is never happy. Is that true? There is a 7 up here. Could it possibly connect to that? Is there a world? I don't think so. If there was a world where this one, first of all, it might not even be able to reach. And I don't think it does. It has to go around this filled in 6. It just doesn't happen, right? This is supposed to be in a one single condo by itself. It's a very cozy, confined condo, but that's the way they like it. How do I make this guy happy? While also, like I guess the next question might be how, I could do it like this. That is maybe where I was supposed to go. That's a little more economical, this sort of a build for these guys. That makes more sense because now that's like a perfect 7. Cool. That's the flow solution, I think. I think that's our flow solution. We go with the flow, and it gets us a solve. That's a 6. And then we have like all this room here to play with. Can we? So I think we do this again. That feels correct. And then that feels correct. Go with the flow. We were close. We were close. We just needed that little tweak to our building arrangement there in the center. All right. These are fun. This game is just a blast. Okay. This is an interesting arrangement here for these 2s because they're kind of forcing a 3. They're forcing a arrangement. Oops. A room of 3, which kind of means they have to connect to this guy, don't they? Do they just connect like this? Is this the something along those lines? This is 8, correct? 4, 6, 8. Yeah, that feels close, but it's... the 1 has to maybe do the same thing, doesn't it? It can't live by itself. This is one where it does have to combine, but we have so much empty space. This should be doable. We just need to count. Easier said than done. 9, 10, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, wow, we are close already to... So we actually don't want to connect these together, I don't... No, but wait. But wait. But wait. I don't have to connect these necessarily. But I do kind of have to. It's... I have to fill this square in here, don't I? Do I? Do I have to fill it in? Is there a smaller... I feel like this is the smallest possible way. I have to connect all the white dots because these 2s are never going to be happy if they don't have the 8 to go along with them. And the smallest possible room, let's just make sure that they are happy in this arrangement. And I that's like a shrink-wrapped solution for them. I can't make that any smaller. And that means that this square here has to be filled, which means this 1 has to be combined with something. So now, wow. Now, okay, hold on. We could be a little bit, what I could do is take away 2 squares here and go, I could do something like this maybe. I might be doing too much. Like, I still need these 2. Hold on, because I think I've just screwed up the bottom part. 4, 8, 11, 13. And I have what? 8 plus 4 is 12, right? So if I could fill in 1 more, but then that cuts them off. I don't know if this is the right track. Am I supposed to be thinking along these lines? I could do maybe there's that, but I don't really want to add squares. The whole point of coming down here was to take away squares. Where am I at now in terms of these guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? There's gotta be... I need to have 15, don't I? And I kind of have to connect these together? No? Do I mean, I can't go like this, can I? I can't cut this off. There's got to be a minimization that I'm just failing to absorb. Let's do a reset. Like, I could do this, right? I could do something like this just to make the white dots happy. But eventually we have to... Oh, that's the idea. That's where I'm going wrong. That's what I need to do, because I don't have to connect through this whole entire set. I can just go like this. Maybe. I didn't even count. I was just like, you know what? That's the flow. Take it. All right, now this monstrosity. I still don't know what's going on with why this changes color here. We'll see if we can figure that out once we maybe solve the puzzle. A lot of single black dots that could potentially... Oh no, never mind. This is forced empty. Okay, so these are all singles. There's no way in hell that we're reaching the filled in 4s. Well, maybe if they combine powers, they could reach this one over here. That feels like too much. I think this is... I'm gonna say... Could they reach this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I feel like these 4s are going to have to be combined. No, maybe not. That's maybe not a have to at all. The 1s, I think, are going to have to live by themselves. I think that goes for all the 1s. This is actually... there is a bit of a... I thought there was a bit of a symmetry at first between... There's a 9 white here and a 9 black here. No, there's really not that much symmetry going on this board. But there may be a flow. There often is. Let's find it. If we can. The flow... The flow is what? There's a 9 here that we have to satisfy, along with a 6 empty. I have to keep these empty. These have to stay empty. And also, these have to stay empty. So, yeah, we can actually say... We can actually mark off all of our empty squares here. And we can also say that this has to be filled. Those do add a pretty nice... The single ones do add a pretty nice constraint to everything. So with that... Let's build from somewhere. Well, this might just... This is 9, right? So we do... That... Okay, that one solves itself. Nice. What else? I actually don't want to connect this 6 to this. This is going to be too many empty squares. So I need the 6 to go in this direction. So I need the 9... to go like this. Oh, that's a perfect 6 over here. Okay. So now this 9 kind of bubbles out this direction. That is 8, I think. So it needs just one more somewhere. There's a lot of flexibility of where that could be. It can't be here because we can't connect it to that. Wait a second. That's 9 already. Okay, never mind. There we go. Done. I can't go... Yeah, I don't want to infringe upon this room, so I think that's... a has to. Because if I arrange these squares any other way... I'm gonna say that has to happen. Let's be a little wary about this room here, but I think that's a start. Where else do we start? Okay, we know that this is forced empty, so that has to connect to this 3. These 3s, I don't think we can put them all together because then that would be like cutting off these 4s. But we could put these 3. These 3 could exist like here. So those 3, those 2 3s would be happy up in the left. And then what? Well, this 4 has to at least go there. There's no other choice. And of course, this one would have to do that as well. And they could not do that because that would cut off that 3. So that's a force empty. And then I guess, is this a force empty in order to make this 3 happen? Makes sense. So I guess then, in that case, one of these 2 squares would have to be filled in to make that 4 happy, and it can't be this guy, because that's too many, so it has to be that guy. Okay. And if that has to be empty, that means that has to connect to this. So we are just... Wait a minute, though. Now this is too many. So does that mean that this over here actually needs to be like this? Is that the lesson there? Or like this? No, but this 2 now is filled. Ooh. Okay, hold on. I might have had too many has-tos. I might have jumped the gun on this upper left corner. Cause maybe it would have made more sense to do something like this. And have these... Can't fill that in unless I take that away. But if I do that, now I'm running into that same problem with the 2. The 2 can't go in that direction because we have to be able to make a space for this 9 black. The 2 can therefore go in one of the other 3 directions. It does kind of make sense that this 3 has to happen like this. Can we confirm that for sure? We know that this square has to happen. And that similarly, like at the very least, I don't know if we can say that this square is undetermined in my mind. But we know that if these 2 are forced for this, it really is hard to envision any world where these 3s being separate, I don't think can ever happen. No, it can't, right? Because in order for this to get a room of 3, it has to extend to one of these squares at the very least. And once you do that, it's connected to this guy. So these guys are connected. It's just a matter of how precisely their room looks. Does it have... Could we ever do this? Maybe this is how we're supposed to construct that. Okay, I feel maybe now we might be getting somewhere. Okay. I think also this one is a pretty forced one here, isn't it? Did we just solve that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, this is... We have to contain this somehow. There is a containment breach that must be... How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, did I just... Nope. The markers are kind of playing with my vision a little bit, and I don't necessarily count those squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're getting closer, I think. Man, I feel really good about this side here. We just need to iron out this last little section. I don't want to go here, because then that makes 5. But I also am not sure about going here, because then how do I make this 3 happy? It would have to look something like this. Oh, I mean, maybe that works. No! Empty space? Oh, but I can't. This is down here. Hold on. There has to be a way. This has got to be it. We just need to do... I'm actually going to take off all the markers, because the markers I feel like are just screwing with my... They're making the board messy in a way that is no longer helpful. I just wish there were an easy way for us to toggle markers in a more global fashion. So now, looking at this, does that help me? Does that help me? This 3 here. I kind of feel like this 3 has to be... Like, I can't put the 3... It really feels like this has to be the way. Maybe this is one that I just need to... Wait a minute. No, but I got the 5 there. That's not the problem. It's this 9. It's this pesky gosh darn 9. And then, because I still have to make this 6 happy. And I can't do anything like this, because that's going to screw with... If I go like this, that's too many. Can I... But then I can't take away that. Oh, that would also disconnect this guy. Gosh. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That doesn't harm anything, does it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy bejesus. I'm done. I'm wrecked. The brain is... I'm really not that wrecked. But it's just, man... Just that one stinking little square. I think taking the markers off was a help in the end. Because having the markers over here... I don't even know. Did I mark this space? I don't think I marked this space. But because of its proximity to the markers, it was like off limits in my mind. I was not considering that. That one little stinking adjustment. All these are solved now, though. This left-hand side of the board is solved. Let's go. Now, what was I stuck on this one? Well, it looks like it should be so simple. Let's just do a reset there. Let's just clean the slate on that. And what the heck was so complicated about this one? Should it not be just... Oh, right, okay. Yeah, the initial flow, like, the board is aligned where it makes me think like, oh, here's the 5 squares here that should be filled in, and here's the 5 that should be filled in here. But of course, that completely cuts off one of the diamonds over here. So, now it could make a lot of sense for us to do something like that, potentially. Except, yeah, this is where things do get a little tricky. At least, once again, even with Fresh Brain, my initial instinct to connect the board like this immediately results in issues. So something else must be done. Something else must be attempted. How do we... We know that there are 6 diamonds. We're not exactly sure what is paired with what. But we do know that the diamonds over here in the corners need to be paired with something. It could make sense that we might pair... maybe this is the solution. There it is. There's the flow. You just have to... That is the great thing about Fresh Brain, is that you do release... at least I find that I'm much less prone to holding on to those initial instincts. I try to do that in general. I try not to let my initial instinct dictate too much of my approach to any one puzzle, but you sometimes can't help it. You get stuck in a certain way, like, oh, this has got to be the way to go, and it can dead end you if you are not careful. What was this one also? How do we approach this one? We have a very interesting arrangement of the black diamonds. This black diamond here has to be connected to this one, right? There are no other black elements on the board with which they could be paired, so that kind of has to happen, I think. It also really... It would seem to make a lot of sense to connect... I mean, if this one has to be empty, then this square here kind of has to be empty. And if that square is empty, then that means probably this one has to be empty as well in order to make this one... Like this subtractor has to cancel out something. And why wouldn't it just cancel out this one? I suppose it doesn't have to, right? We could just put this guy by itself and assume that at some point it's going to cancel out this guy up here, right? That could be one of these where it's like they want you... Mr. Van de Vander, I suspect, maybe wanted us to leap to the conclusion that these are right next to each other. Why wouldn't they cancel each other out? Well, it might be because the board wants us to work a different way. That's not the solution. I don't know yet. I can't say that definitively one way or the other. So this is a question mark. Maybe we'll mark that as a question mark. Now, if this one is empty, doesn't it? Well, okay. I was gonna make another has to that doesn't necessarily have to. a non-necessary have to. This does not have to happen. In order for these two black diamonds to be in the same room, there very much could be a solve where things go around the board in some way. Maybe. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know yet. But then again, maybe they do have to go like this. This feels like a flow, but is that too many squares? It's not too many squares if we go like this. Correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That feels like a flow. Feels like we're on the right track with this train of thought. Because now this, we just go like... We have to just leave a path open somewhere here. This 3 needs a room. The 3 needs a... It needs somewhere to go. I may... maybe this. Hold on, where does this 3 go? Is this 3 actually... Can it exist? Hold on. If I just do that, I don't think... I really need that 3 to go to a different room. It can't be in the same room as this zero sum that happens. Correct? The one thing here... No, I think... Hold on. What do I actually think? Like, if I go like this, I'm cutting off... I'm cutting that off. Could I instead connect them here? Did I just... Okay, all right. Why did I... Somehow I was thinking about these 2 possibilities. This one possibility that is the solution. I was dividing this little pathway up into 2 sub-problems, and I wasn't connecting them. You have to properly connect the sub-problems. Okay, let's find... there's got to be, I think, at least a couple more puzzles that we did not yet solve in this area. I know there were some stumpers. There apparently was one here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's coming back to me. Okay. Black and white lines. We had this confined... Yeah, okay. So they're giving us the empty space over here on the right-hand side and the bottom, but the top left has... Things are a little more squished, so to speak. Okay, where do we start? How do we logically... Because this one, there's no constraints like we've had on so many of those shrine dots puzzles. So how do we build some constraints? The lines are the thing that's finicky or funky about the lines is that they can go in the same rooms. They just need to have a distinct arrangement of room to line. That's the important bit. So like I could, like there's a world where I could do something like this, Well, only for these black and white lines. And then I don't have a solution for this one. So that already that already is a little bit. But I was thinking if the line here and here didn't exist, the lines that are in the filled in spaces would be happy. And it actually does show that. Interesting. They would be happy with the rooms that they have, but we got to make everybody happy. We got to include them all. How do we do that? Can I do... Is there some sort of an L shape that I need to be considering? If I do that, or would an S shape make more sense? Yeah, the problem is, if I do pick something like an L or an S, how am I arranging the board to be able to accommodate everybody? For whatever reason, I think this is the one where I do need that sub-problem mindset. I just find it very tough to actually find the appropriate sub-problem. Maybe the sub-problem should be just like eliminating one color. Don't think about... What if we just thought about... Let's start with the white lines and pretend that the black lines don't exist. Can I make a world where just the white lines by themselves are happy? Could I do, like, maybe that's not... Well, I say maybe it's not that complicated, but, I mean, it might not be, because ultimately I could just do a whole bunch of little small lines like this, right? I could just make little 1x2s, and then the white spaces would definitely be A-okay. If I did that, could I make the black lines happy with this space that I've got left? Given this arrangement, that feels really tough to do. Because I don't think I can spin. I have to be able to rotate the slanted lines if I want to like make a room that they're happy with. Was I looking at... Oh, did I look at 2x2s before? This is the same problem. The same problem with 2x2s is that I can always... Yeah. They're always going to be in a corner. Each of the black and white lines are always going to be in a corner. I also don't think I can make a 2x2 for this guy. So that also has that problem. 2x2s don't work either. Wow, this one is like surprisingly... Gosh, why am I having so much trouble with this one? I think we've got to come back to this guy as well. Or I just need to spend... It's one of those that needs some... quite a bit of deep, time-consuming thought to go along with it. And there apparently is an entire set of panels here. I guess I just gave up on this entire set because I got to this one and I got kind of stumped. And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to try the other two. So should we start from the right-hand side on this? That seemed to work okay with our other set of big brain puzzles today. So why don't we do that? This one seems to have a very important constraint in the middle of the board to get us started. So we like that. So that means well, okay. It's kind of interesting that this means we have to at least build this kind of a room for this shape here. And that therefore means that we have to fill in this square in order to get this white diamond happy with something. Probably this other white diamond. So that, if I'm looking at this correctly, has to look like this, I think. Now we have just a single black diamond to pair with one of the other black lines. Wow. What? How is this? No, wait. How is this going to work? How in the heck? Actually, how are we going to do this? Oh, no, maybe it's not as complicated as I'm thinking, because we can go like this. It's not going to be that bad. Okay, because this can go down like this and over. So here, this is fine. This is fine. No big deal. In fact, I'm starting to maybe see how this is going to work out. Like, it kind of feels like we're on the right track here, but it does... interesting. Interesting. I'm going to reset. Gonna reset and start over from scratch, because I feel like this is one where you need to be very meticulous in your build out. Now, you know, it could be, you know, there's not necessarily a requirement that this has to be filled per se. It could be that just, you know, it's going to be in an empty space. So let's at least let's make sure we cover that possibility. But one way or the other, this white diamond is going to have to be in the same room as this, just so it can connect to something. And it really makes so much sense that it would connect to this, doesn't it? Yeah, it maybe doesn't have to. Maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe it's supposed to go down here, you know? So I think so far, this is what we know has to happen. Like, we kind of need, for these two black lines to be in a room that makes sense for them, this is the border here, so this has to be the border here, right? So many has tos. And similarly, the top of this has to kind of be this way. So then this, and also these blue rooms, they would have to have a border here. So that makes sense so far. Now, the black room, it kind of makes sense that it would have to... In which direction do we build it? It kind of feels better to go this way to make... we can answer this, I think, because similarly, this yellow line, the yellow slanted line here on the right-hand border, this is the top of its room here. And so it makes sense that the black line room would go down in order to create that ceiling. And therefore it kind of has to go this way, right? That sure feels like the Taiji flow so far. Like, how do we live in a world where that doesn't happen? You know? You know what I'm saying? Now, beyond that, it could just be that it would sure make a whole lot of sense if these I could see this happening. And oh, wait a second. I'm starting to build out too many sub-problems. Maybe I should bring in the flowers here to help me. Flowers, help! This flower is actually already happy, isn't it? That flower is happy. Now, it could be that I actually do want to fill in. This is the other thing, is I haven't quite determined yet. I think we've determined that the two black rooms are going to be empty space rooms. That seems correct. And then by definition, the white, well, this white room at least would have to be filled. I haven't, no, I have figured out that it kind of needs to end here, doesn't it? It might go like this, potentially. I could see that. I could see us living in a world where that happens, and I could see us living in a world where this happens. And I could see us living in a world where this happens. So that would make this a ooh, but then this, oh shit. But then this would have to be empty like this, wouldn't it? And then, well, this could come down like this. No, this is starting to get too messy. Oh, but then that's connected over here. Oh, god damn it. So I could do this, right? And I could do that. And then this... Am I still okay? Have I not completely screwed everything to Kingdom Come? Can I do... This is a problem here. This is a problem. This cannot happen. It can only happen... It can only... Crapola. Wait a minute. Can I... Am I actually supposed to... If I don't pair the white diamonds together, that means that I think I have to pair the white diamonds together because the white lines are situated at the top and bottom, the very top and bottom of the puzzle panel, which means their room has like both an upper and lower bound of one row. Like I can't move the bottom rooms. I can't extend the bottom room upward because then the top room has nowhere to go. And the top room can't go downward because the bottom room has nowhere to go, right? So because of that, neither one of them can extend to pick up the white diamond. So that has to go with this guy. And it makes total sense then that it would go in this room with the yellow lines and this yellow flower in the middle, which we know has to be filled. And so far, this is looking all good. But then this stinking little blue line gets in here. If I take this away, the problem is if I take that away, then that is where this white diamond is, isn't it? How do I do this? Oh no. These are so difficult. Man, they really have saved the worst for last. Maybe I have saved the worst for last because of the way in which the order in which I have chosen to solve puzzle panels, because I don't think there's anything else really to do. Like we've solved everything else up to this point, I think. So I don't know. These are at the point where I'm really having a tough time noodling through them. Maybe we will go on to... Do we just do a full reset? I might need to do a full reset on this. We'll leave it where it is for now, and we'll move on to the next. Pray to have better luck. But you know, it's the end of a tricky puzzle game. And this is just how it goes. This is such a... Feels like a very... Well, no, it's not an odd forced build square because it's next to 4 yellow petals. So that kind of says that has to happen. That's like that's the thing I've said most today, I think. Has to happen. How many times have I actually been right? TBD. Okay, so if we're starting like that, boy, this is another one where we're juggling so many symbols. We've got to be able to focus on the appropriate sub-problems. Can we do that? Like, maybe I need to focus more on embracing the flow. Find the flow. Find the flow and let everything else happen as it happens. Just find the flow. Don't worry about anything else. Whatever else happens, happens. Don't strain your brain in the process. Could do that. That would be a flow for that, assuming we don't give a single room to any other... This one is so out here on its own. Do I even want to do it that way? Maybe I want to do it like this to give a constraint to make it a little more... 4 needs to happen here somewhere. Could I just do it like... Oh, but I could combine this. I could combine the 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't think I want to do that because then this black line gets... Oh, that's actually... I already kind of had a... I was already going too far with that one, unless I make it an empty space. I wanted that so badly just to work. Wait, why is that... Why are the black lines not happy? Excuse me? The black lines aren't happy? Is this one not in this... Oh, do I have another T shape going on? I do, don't I? Wow. The white lines already have a T shape. Can I fix that? Not easily. If I go... I could give the white lines another T shape. The presence of this 4 here makes this a little bit... it makes it tough. Because I can't quite... How do I fill in this 4 without giving these a T shape? Do I need to do a different... Gosh, am I not forced to do the T shape for the black lines? Because this here, this 3 yellow single purple flower, I feel like I was kind of... Oh, I didn't fill this one in correctly. This one here... Oh wait, how do I fill in this flower? This flower needs to have a single... Maybe that was supposed to be... No, but wait a second. Wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Gosh. I'm gonna hit the reset button on this one, because I was trying to ride the flow, and it seems to have flowed me directly into a dead end. This here kind of has to happen, right? There's no other way. This has to be the case. This forced here as an empty is really... why is this one here important? What is that telling us? Is it trying to clue us in? We've got these... We've got a four black shrine dots. We've got a white line. And we've got the 3 yellow, single purple, which my instinct on those is always to fill them in, but they don't have to be, necessarily. It's just whatever I pick for this square has to be the same on these cardinal directions around it. Like, that's why it kind of just made so much sense for, oh, we've got a T-shape back here with this 4. But then that just kind of overlaps with what I was doing on this side down here. You also have a... Gosh, the fact that if you fill this in, or even if you don't fill it in, regardless, whatever you decide to do here on this square, it kind of says that this... Is this not a forced room, whether it's filled or empty? That kind of has to happen, doesn't it? Now, what could happen from there is you could have this be an empty square, and that would make this the yellow petal that goes for that. I think that maybe is the... Like, these 6 squares here have to live either like this, or they have to live like this. And it just is... I don't know, it just is so much easier for my brain to comprehend this. Because if this is true, that means this is true because of this purple, the 4 purple here. And what also must be true. Now, if this is where it could get... I think it's going to be different from what I had before because I had this one filled in, didn't I? This one, based on this configuration, also, this flower here is also connected to these, to where these all have to be empty. I don't know if I want to use my marker squares or not, but those have to be empty. Now what we could do, no, we can't. This room of 4 is kind of set here. And so whatever we do with the white lines now cannot be a T shape. Has to be something else. There's a 3 black shrine dots and a 4 yellow. This 4 yellow cannot be filled in because it's next to these required squares, which would be, actually would be 6. So this one has to be empty. A lot of empty space around it. So there's a lot of flexibility in what happens there. Maybe it would be kind of nice if we could just section off the yellow line and not have to think about it anymore. But we're probably going to have to do something more complicated than just a 1x1. So if this is forced empty, and this one is definitely forced empty, do these just go together? If so, then where does the 3? The 3 could be a filled-in square, because it could just go with this room. And then it would go, the final square would go either here or here. It makes a lot of sense if it goes here. That makes like a little airlock, or it borders off the bottom right corner for this square. And now we get to figure something out for what's going on here. Man, it really... Okay, we don't have to end up with... What am I thinking here? I'm thinking that we don't have to... I think this white square has to be filled in. Because it kind of needs to be... This white square here cannot be filled in, because that would connect it to this room here. Which means that this one cannot be connected to this room here. Does that make sense? I think logically, if we cannot extend the extent that we could do this, the room for this white line ends here. And so that basically ends here for this white line. So that by necessity means that this has to be in a different room than this 4 yellow flower. So this one has to be filled in, which means I think we can't put the 3 in this direction. Which means the 3 has to go here. Could it be that... I think another thing that we have to recognize is that I can't connect the 4. Just like I couldn't connect this 4 to this flower, I can't do that here, right? Whatever this is, whether this is filled or not, has to have all of the squares next to it. The petals have to be all the yellow petals, and I can't connect those to this. So this is going to be different from whatever these are. This kind of feels like this is supposed to happen. But now I'm running into a problem with this 4. Where does this 4 go? Crap, I feel like I've built too many little sub-problem constraints that are running into each other, and my mind doesn't know quite how to sort them out. I mean, this is just par for the course today. We're gonna have to set this one aside as well. Hopefully, eventually. I know how the puzzle process works. This happened many times in Baba Is You, which was, boy, that was one doozy of a puzzle game. It is here on the channel if you're interested in checking that out as a side note. But so many times where just the puzzle that I thought so many puzzles that I thought I would just maybe never solve without looking them up. But eventually, we were able to get there. So hopefully we will do that with many of these. Hopefully that will be similar to this panel, which we have not revisited yet today. So I think this is the last one in this underground section that we, the last one to at least attempt we've attempted all of them at least once now, I think. So now we're on to the second round with this puzzle, and it will be at least the second round for every other puzzle from here on out. So let's give one more shot here. Maybe this will be our last puzzle for the day. See if we have enough brain power to get us across the finish line. I don't want to reset it yet, because this arrangement looks like I was on... It feels like maybe I was on the right track with what I was wanting to do, but I just needed to fully flesh things out. It really feels like I needed to do something here to just connect these two together. And it's like that feels very close. What's wrong there? Now I've included... Oh, right. Okay, this was the fly in the ointment, was the fact that these flowers pair with the yellow diamonds. That was kind of screwing with things. I see. I think that was basically the last hurdle on this puzzle. Can we find a way? These 3 yellow petals. It feels like they were also really getting in the way on this board. They're a bunch of stinkers, I tell you. This one here, that pairs with... Huh. It's almost like we want to... Like, we could bring this... This one could be brought into the fold if we wanted to. But would there be a way, given the way that we've arranged the board here, like, I don't think it's possible for me to go around to the left of this black diamond. I think these kind of need, at least with my current board arrangement, like maybe I need to completely revisit this from scratch. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to. Because this really feels close. The black diamonds kind of need to be in an empty space, don't they? We had determined that this one, well, obviously this one forces us to be empty space on at least one of them. And then because of that, it probably just, I think all of the shrine dots, the subtractors, have to go in the same space as obviously the 9 here, and those would be filled in, wouldn't they? So if that's the case, I want to I want to unplug one of these. How do I do that? Because if I do that, I don't think I can unplug this one. That one feels like I cannot unplug it. This is the one that might be a little more in question. Yeah, I may not want to even unplug this one, but I do need to... If I unplug this, I need to unplug it away from... Could I do this and then this? The problem is 3 black diamonds. And I guess a whole bunch of other things somehow. I've broken the connection here. I'd have to go like this. But the 2 black diamonds, man, is there some way? If I do this... Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I might be able to... There might be a way to somehow... I can't bring this into... Or can I? No, if I bring this in to this spot here, then it's pairing with this yellow diamond all the way across. It feels like this needs to be in an empty space, but then this needs to also be compartmentalized in a way... Oh my gosh! Why are these boards just... They're just frustratingly not where I need them to be. If I do... Wait, can I do... Is the answer to do this? No, but then again, I brought this into the empty space. Huh. Oh, wait a second. Wait, can I do it like this? That way it's compartmentalized, but I still have everything connected? Oh, thank... thank the Taiji gods. Who I'm not enough of an expert to know who to pray for or who to pray to when we're in Taiji puzzle land. the power of the mind, whatever deity we are supposed to exalt in this case, I'm gonna take the win and run. If this room up here is correct, then that kind of means one of two things. It means... No, actually, it can't be one of two things. It has to be... I think it would have to mean that this is true. I would have to arrange things so that this room here happens. But that puts me slightly over... Is that true? Does this have to happen? I couldn't... The problem is that these squares here for the 4 yellow-petaled flower... These squares have to be filled in. And if I fill in this room for the white line, if I make that a filled in squares room, then it's connected to the flower petals. And it's no longer this shape. So like this makes this room filled in the way that I would need it. But the problem is now I have 9 squares here in this room with the 4 and the 3. Could I disconnect them potentially? Because this is... I do need these filled in squares here, I think, in order to construct this room. Like, it could be that this room is invalid. That this is not where I'm supposed to be putting this. I think maybe for sure I can't fill in this 4. The 4 has to be in a separate room compared to these. Like this flower here either has to be fully filled in like this, or they have to be fully empty, because we have 3 yellow petals to account for it, and they have to be on the board. So either these 4 squares are filled in or they're not. One way or the other, this could not be a part of that room, because that would make at least 5 in that room. So this has to be distinct from these guys here. What could happen though is potentially you could have a room that would look like, you know, something like this. Except that's problematic because this square has to be empty, and that makes 5. And I think by similar logic, I cannot... This also has... The 4 squares here has to be distinct from this 4 yellow petaled... These tiles down here. Same thing. I cannot, like... If I try to like go all empty on this flower up here and then connect this, where do I make the 4? I can't, because I'm gonna eventually run into this either here or here, and that's gonna be way too many. So man, it really feels, I mean, it feels not just flow, but it feels forced. Could I can't break this wall if I'm gonna hold this room the way it is. I can't break that. But what I could do is I could connect this into this room. That really starts to make things... Well, maybe they're still doable. Because maybe this is... Maybe what I'm seeing now is the board is trying to communicate to me that... I'm going to have a problem maybe with this 3 still. I'm not sure yet how this is supposed to look, but I'm wondering if I just focus on the yellow line for a moment, could I do like, I could do something like this. And that would actually be the right amount of squares, yellow squares. That feels very strong. But we just have this slight little wrinkle here. There's also the wrinkle of the black lines have not been satisfied, but I feel like the black line would be pretty easy to fix. I could do this for the black line, right? Or not. Why did that completely screw everything up? Because now... Wait, were the white lines happy before? They're not going to be happy eventually, are they? Oh, this is something they're in the same spot as the black line. I mean, this feels too good. The fact that this this yellow flower connects to the yellow line in just the same way here that these yellow, the two sets of 4 shrine dots combined together in this very, very just Taiji way right here. That feels very, very good. But why am I still just barely missing? These 4 black dots are really, it feels like this one especially feels like it's just forcing this T-shaped room here. And then that works fine, but then I'm not really allowed to make the same T-shaped room here, am I? So, we did say, that's my problem. That's got to be my problem. I said earlier this square is agnostic, isn't it? Now I just need to use my empty space to make the right room for this black line, which I think I can do like this. Oh, sometimes fresh brain OP. Sometimes you just gotta wait, like, you know, a few days and come back to a puzzle. It's just part of the process. That feels so good to get that win, even if it has taken some time. We get there eventually. I think I might reset one more time here and just go back to basics, because there are some, for sure, things that have to happen. And let's start with that minimum. I think, like, it may not be that we have to, that this room here with this yellow line in the bottom right, it may not be that it has to be a filled-in room, but, like, in what world, okay, if it's not filled in, it would look like this, right? You would need at least this minimum number of squares to make it an enclosed empty space. Now, but we have that same issue from before of the white diamonds not sharing the same room. So you would kind of need to do something like this, okay? Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I've been making this assumption that this needs to be a filled-in space down here. Maybe it makes a lot more sense for it to just be an empty space. Could we make that work? Because now that actually works for this flower over here if we fill that square in. Okay, let's explore this. Let's see how far we can make this work. Now, okay, that extends to right there. So now the yellow lines, I think, are happy. The yellow lines are happy. This feels like, as some might like to say, progress. But let's hold the pog for just a second. Pause, champ. Pause, rest. No, it doesn't work. We're just gonna put a hold on all the pogging and all the champing and try to go one room at a time. We can make the black room The black squared room kind of has to look like the black squared room. The black line room kind of needs to look like something like this. Something like this at a minimum. And it would, but there's a, well, maybe it's not a problem. If we fill that in like that, and then we do this, there's only one little potential issue, except maybe it's not an issue if I crap, hold on. So I'm trying to, well, I might be trying to do too many things at once. I don't want to extend this room. I don't want to, if I can leave this room the way it is, that would be awesome. But that kind of means that I need to put this square like this. And that means that this square here kind of needs to be empty. Is that okay? It's almost okay, because if that's empty, that means that needs to be filled. But now this guy is unhappy. Could we could we add one more square to this? See, this is where everything starts to fall apart again, because now adding that square means that this gets added in. And now I can never make this blue set of lines happy. Gosh dang it. Why? If I go like that, then that room is no longer a room. No. Can I go one more square? Maybe I can go one more square? If I go one more square, that means I have to go here. I can't do that either, can I? Because now that means I have to do this. And now this white line is kind of screwed up. Oh my gosh, it's the same problem at every turn. I try to make one tiny little adjustment and the whole thing falls apart. No, not to mention I've got these squares connected in here. No. Like, what about that? Was that the fix I needed? Did I not need... Can I go back to this? Does that work? Am I close? Am I somehow close? And then, oh gosh, this feels so stinking close. I think we can actually do this. Wait a second, hold on. A single square here. I can make that a single square by doing this. Shit, I can't break that. Dang it. Oh my gosh, this is so close. This is so flippin' close. But I can't... No. No. I'm about to cry. Guys, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. So many things are very close to happy. So many things are... Gosh, this feels like we are just right on the cusp. But then that room is not quite happy. The black room here is not quite happy if I do this. And if I do this, like I would have to go like this. And then I could go like this. But now, I mean, this can be made happy by doing that. The only things that are out of sync are these stinking blue lines. I just sort of stumbled into something. The fact that I can actually walk up here. I was kind of autopiloting, and so I wasn't immediately. I didn't have the camera rolling just at that moment, but I was like walking around. I don't know. I was daydreaming about something as I was just waiting for an epiphany to happen, and I realized, wait a second, I can walk on this roof. That could be pretty important here, actually, because all of a sudden, now that I can walk on this roof, oh my god. Oh my god, these are not just solar panels. They have shapes on them that you can see. Reflective panels. Reflective solar panels that have some stinking lines on them. Are you serious? And it feels like they are different colored lines as well. Holy moly. I needed to be able to walk on the roof. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of had been thinking to myself that I just need to wander around the island, quote unquote, wander around the island to get a different perspective. Because whatever I've been looking at so far has not been cutting it. We found the thing. I think we found the thing. So, okay. So there is I'm going to say a white line here, and there's a black or blue line here. Are they all in the middle row? No. There's a white line at the very top of the middle row. The middle of the top row, I should say. And the middle of the bottom row. And then the row above that in the middle has a blue line, but there's also a blue line right here. Okay, so let's see if we can apply that knowledge to the start. I mean, good lord. The people in the audience who have known the solution and have been throwing various objects at their screen. You dingus! Remember, kids, don't be a dingus. You can walk on the roof. You can walk on... This makes me wonder if I just haven't walked in the right spot so far in the gardens or in the plateau or any other parts of the island that might help clue us in. We're gonna leave that one there for now. But yeah, okay, so let's mark here, 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 and here. Like, you would think that this wouldn't be the most terribly complicated setup in the world, but let's see how that pans out. Let's see if that indeed pans out. Could we do something actually very straightforward and do this? Not quite, because that connects these two together. Like, I was thinking of doing this, and that I think would make the white lines happy, but I have connected... I've connected the blue lines in an unfriendly way. So can I make, if I make a room of, if I make like a 1x3 at the, I don't think I can do that because actually, I really only have... There's really only... Is it 4 options for the white lines? Because one is bordered on the top, the other is bordered on the bottom. So the upper and lower bounds for those two sides combine to mean that we have to fit the room on that row. Whatever room we use for the white lines has to be contained on its row. So that means we could do the entire row. But I think we can actually rule that out because that requires me to fill in these squares like this. And now I'm sort of like the fact that this blue line here is up against the left-hand side kind of limits us from doing that. So I think we can rule that one out. Could we do something like this? Maybe this is now. There is a problem. There is a problem with this arrangement. Ah. Well, no. There's a problem with this arrangement because if I want to make a is there a problem? Maybe there's not a problem. No, there is a problem because, again, I'm connecting the same problem that I had at the start, connecting those two together. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. If I take away, yeah, I can't take away this. And if I connect this here, then that's too many squares on this side. So does it... Oh, this is funky. You knew it wasn't going to be straightforward. Could it be that I missed another... Could it be that I missed a symbol? It might be a good idea for me to double check. But I mean, would more symbols make things simpler? Or more difficult? Let's keep trying this one for a bit. I said there was only 4 possibilities, right? One of them... Let me reset. For the white lines, the possibility of a 1x3, I think we can rule out because of the fact that that would create an impossible room already for the blue lines. And I think we can similarly rule out... Well, maybe we can, maybe we can't. Let's see. Can we similarly... Oh, what we could do... We might have to flip their polarity. Would that actually matter, though? I'm not sure that it would matter whether they're... Well, it might. Because if they're flipped... It doesn't matter that much, right? Because flipping the polarity, saying one's empty and the other's filled, it doesn't change the fact that there's a border to the left for this blue line. So if we're doing a single room for the white lines, what does that allow us to do for... What are we allowed then to do for the blue lines? Could I do something like this? No, that's not how that works. No. Except... but the problem I'm having is I'm thinking that these are diagonal lines. These are not diagonal lines. I can't flip these here. Oh, this is tricky. Yeah, it seems pretty clear what we're dealing with here. I think I've got the lines in the right spot. I don't think I'm making an outlandish... It feels like the correct observation that this line here is clearly distinct from this line in terms of color. And the one thing I could be incorrect about... Is it possible that they're slanted? The solar panels are slanted, but I had made that out to be... I was jumping to the conclusion that because the solar panels are slanted and the lines have the same slant, that in reality they're meant to be treated as straight lines. But maybe that's not the case. I mean, we could test it out, right? We could just assume that... Because I think we had a pretty easy one if we were assuming that they could be treated as diagonal. We could come up with a pretty straightforward solve, couldn't we? We could do this, and we could do... Actually, we don't even need... We could do this, right? If they were diagonal, I think this would work. Which is why I don't think they're diagonal. They're in different size rooms, and they're in a distinct formation. I think these are meant to be treated as straight lines. And yet, at the same time, so far, I'm not seeing the solution that that presents itself as a result of those being straight lines. It's funny that this puzzle kind of, as a similar frustrating feeling as the mill EP so far. They both seem to have these somewhat like slightly asymmetrical arrangements of lines that make them so annoying. Maybe there is some fundamental technique with these that I just haven't figured out yet. Is that what I need to be trying to do? Do I need to be thinking about these like this? Where I'm making... The problem is this doesn't work for these black lines, right? This doesn't work for this. It works for those two, but this one is not in the right space. I would have to do... If this is the... That doesn't quite work either, because now it's on the opposite side. So if I went like... Well... But the problem is that these are arranged in such a freaking annoying way. What if we're meant to do it like... Oh, God. God. They're just like... They're at the wrong spots. They're at the wrong places, man. The wrong place and the wrong time. Everything is the wrong place and the wrong time. Or is it? Wait a minute. No, but this... Oh, gosh. That's so close to working, except this freaking line. What if I am really close to a solution? What if I am really, really dastardly? Dastardly? Dastardly. This board is dastardly. That's why that word came to mind. What if I am tantalizingly close to a solution? Is there a way to see this home? I mean, this is probably the closest that I've felt so far on a solution. The closest that I've felt that I've been to a solution. Because this arrangement, this board has been anything but flow, but this is the closest thing to flow that I've had. But the problem is... this guy. It's a problem. He's a problem, man. Okay, I might have just had an idea on this one. Can I figure this out? I was looking at, like, the fly in the ointment are these blue lines. And I don't think there's a way to like make either a single square room or just like a 1x2 with them, at least keeping this current configuration, which feels so close to perfect. But what if it's not about putting them in a small room, but making more of, I had noticed that the squares here are arranged very similar to this. If I just disconnect this guy and then connect this here like this, that would, I think, work for the blue line. Can I then make... I think I can, because I think I can go like this. Oh, please, please, please. Let this be the solution. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. This is now the third day of mulling over some of these puzzles, but at least eventually on some of them we are getting wins. I want it to be just a matter of time on all of them. So good to get the win on this one, though. These were definitely, man, this, if you add these 4 panels together, they might be cumulatively the most difficult single section of panels in the entire game. You talk about big brain puzzles that you needed to solve in this section here, or this particular, these 4 in a row, the Fantastic Four. Oh my goodness. Ah, feels good to get that finally out of the way. Wait a second. Wait a second. Holy shit, is this it? No way. No way. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, gosh. I suppose I've just been sitting here kind of iterating on various L-shaped solutions, and one of them finally popped into view. Because of course that's what was going to happen on this panel. It was just I guess that's as close to flow as you can get. At least for this panel, given how much of a struggle this one has been. Why was this was this the single hardest puzzle panel in the game for me? Okay. Round 3 is finally having some success with Taiji puzzles. The last batch, the final bastion of Taiji puzzles that we have left in the game. And this third round of dealing with some of them has finally borne some fruit. I think that means that all of the panels in this underground section have been solved. I do believe, I don't think I have overlooked any of the snaky, mazy dance floors or the panels of the more normal variety. I think that does it. Holy crap, unless there's something under the stairs that I have somehow missed, because we've seen it before, that sometimes there are places to walk that, was there something behind this panel? Okay, all right. Assuming that there is nothing, no crazy sus wall or some other secret that I have overlooked, I think we can actually say that the underground area has the bonus puzzles in this area are done. Holy shit, let's fucking go. It doesn't feel like it would be a solution, but we might as well try, because, like, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose other than, you know, like, it shouldn't be as simple as copying over this solution from the map panel to this snaky dance floor panel. That shouldn't be the solution. But also, I don't have a great, I really don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at when it comes to this EP. At least with the others, I sort of have a sneaking, I've had a sneaking suspicion, or something else has popped, something has eventually popped out or stood out in a significant way in each of these areas, but not this middle area, at least not yet. So we're gonna at least try this. It doesn't feel like this should work, and I don't expect it to, but we might as well just cross it off our list. Okay, officially crossed off the list. So what are we looking for? I guess we should go back to that section and take another look around. I've been there a few times, but nothing yet has stood out. You know, you would think that maybe this one of these dance floors would do it, but this is not quite a 9x9. Unless you're looking at, I guess you could look at this if you counted from these. If you counted, there's an intersection of the dance floor that could be a 9x9. Is that what they want us to do? Is maybe that's what they want us to do, is somehow we want to think of the 9x9 at the start has a missing square on this. Is it right here? If this is the 9x9, then this would be the square that is missing. And then you would have these two squares down on the bottom that are missing as well. Like, are the missing squares supposed to be telling us the beginning and end of our, you know, where our character would walk to make this style of puzzle work? So then, if that were the case, if one of these is, I guess, either could be the start or end, these two squares could correspond. Like, if I reversed everything, it could correspond to the right-hand side. Would that make sense? And then you would have a complete... You would have... I don't know if that makes sense. Is that part of the 9x9 here? Am I... Oh, that is. Oh, that even feels weirder now that this is part of the 9x9. That doesn't feel like that should be right. No. No, that doesn't make any sense. This is not clicking. Each of these others have clicked, right? Like, the solution has been very apparent for each of these that we've gotten to work. And we're just still missing something on these other three. Is this how it would be? How would you do... Wait, could I actually make... No, I can't make a single square. I've done this before. Every time I come back to this panel, I've been down the same roads. I can't do a single square for these lines, for the blue lines or black lines, because that would require filling in this square. It would either require filling things in this way or somehow this way, because I can't do a single square for the white lines either. Or can I? Would it be something that I could do? Could I actually do something like this? Oh, that's how I do this. Wait, no, I still have a problem. Crap, I still have a problem, I think. Yeah, I do have a problem. Because the line, I thought I might have been onto something, but then I realized that I wasn't. I thought I was going to be able to make a shape like this. I'm just going to see if this works. Doesn't work. I forget that the lines are here and here. I was getting them backwards for a second. I thought I could make a little 1x2 room that would work for those, and then I would have a single square here. But that doesn't cut it either, because of course it doesn't. How do I ever make this freaking work? I guess maybe... Oh, wait a second. Oh, I wonder... Hold on. Did I just figure it out? I think I might have just figured it out. By doing this pattern, I might have figured it out for myself, because that actually... No, I have the same problem still. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a second. No, this is still a problem. Oh gosh, I want this to work. But I can't make it work. Because... Except... No, I can't do... No, these rooms have to be horizontal. Shit. Oh, I'm gonna lose my mind over this EP. It's not possible. Which means... if I'm thinking that it's not possible, that probably means... Well, it could mean that I haven't noticed something else about the solar panels, but it could also mean that I somehow have missed part of the rule set with lines. But I still have this sneaking suspicion that really it boils down to me just not getting the right combination of things. I'm just not quite getting the right combination. Like, I'd love to be able to start out like something like this, or alternatively like this, where I do make a single square for the white rooms, but then I'm boxed in. I'm immediately boxed in and I can't do anything else. So the single square for the white rooms doesn't seem to cut it either. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Does, if I do this, I've done this before, I've done it a million times, that's, like, I could make a single square like that, but then I can't replicate the same thing up here. I just can't do it. I ultimately end up doing something like this that just doesn't work for those. Holy shit. So I think I finally have had an off-camera realization about this mill EP. This episode is going to end up being so all over the place because my process has, I've been recording this over now the course of like actual months because I am so stubborn. I do not like looking things up. I do not like asking for hints because I know my process. I know that over time, I tend to solve these things, even if it does take a long freaking time because fresh brain OP. And sometimes you sit back down to the game, because what I've been doing is I'll play the game for a while and then I'll go and I'll edit some of the footage, especially if I get a puzzle solved, try to edit that together, but I'll also look at some of my other footage from earlier that episode regarding other puzzles I haven't solved to try to get ideas. And I finally did have an idea, a realization with this puzzle. Let's go over it because I think if I remember now, it's been a couple days since I thought about this, but I think the if I remember correctly, the black or blue and white lines are in these squares. And I think the realization that I had is I kept coming back to like this pattern, wanting to do something like this, where I would have the white lines in a single squared room. And then I would have the blue lines in this like S-shaped room, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I kept having to abandon this because it doesn't fit, or these, it's not that it doesn't fit, but these two rooms turn into one room for the blue lines, and then that doesn't work for the way that the rules for the blue lines work. However, of course, the thing that I had been overlooking the whole time was we're playing Taiji. When you have something that doesn't work the way that you want it to, but you think it's supposed to work, just play Taiji. Just do yin and yang. It was there the whole time. It was there this whole time. Oh man, yeah, like I said, this game is just one that I have been, with these last handful of puzzles, I think we're now down to just these remaining 2 EPs, so far as I can tell. I guess there's still the Bruins, that backdoor puzzle, shortcut puzzle, which maybe I'll solve, maybe I won't. I don't know. That one I might not feel so bad about looking up or asking for some help on because it's just a shortcut door. But I still want to get it if I can. But regardless, these last 2 EPs, I don't want to ask for help, but they have been stumping me, just as this one has been. But hopefully we can get a realization on those. But at least it feels good. At least it feels good to get finally. Interesting. We have now 7 of 9. Environmental puzzles here. Okay, so that's a Star Trek tie-in that I wasn't quite expecting would happen this episode, but there you go, nonetheless. Now, what do we do about the plateaus, and what do we do about the gardens? The challenge with the plateaus puzzle is that I haven't even really narrowed down what I'm supposed to be looking at. The only thought that I've had so far is the fact that it is roughly a 9x9, which feels like it should correspond to the world map. But if that's the case, we're supposed to be, we're incorporating knowledge from each of these major zones in the game. I've been calling these the snaky mazy dance floors, where you have to start, the way that you solve the puzzle is by walking a particular path, and you have to walk it in the cardinal directions. You can't turn diagonally or something. That's not allowed. You have to do something along these lines, right? And there, that path weaves up into a point where you reach the end, you lock it in, and that's how it works. The question, though, on this board is, how do we make a snaky mazy dance floor out of the environment? What part of the environment corresponds to this 9x9? Minus the couple squares that are missing. Is it supposed to be the actual overall world map? Are we supposed to think somehow of a way that we would walk a path snaky mazy dance floor style? Maybe if we think that if we imagine that the start is supposed to be the mill, and that the end is supposed to be, sorry, the mines, I take it back, would be the start and the mill would be the end. Could we somehow create a walkable path? I mean, I could create a walkable path that would get us from here down to here. I could do that. That's not hard to do per se, but the question is finding the right walkable path. It's not, I don't think it's just about finding any old walkable path that connects this square here, which would be up in the mine, to these. The problem is, why are there two squares removed for the mill? Why are there two there? Unless one of these is supposed to be the starting square. Maybe we have a start square at the mill and an intermediate square at the mine, and then an ending square at the mill. We're overcomplicating this. This is definitely an overcomplication, and there's no way that this works. There's something. That's not how we have solved any of these other puzzles. All of these other solutions have felt correct, or they have this is definitely the answer. It hasn't been some wild guess out of left field. So there's just still some realization that we haven't achieved yet, which is part of why this is so fascinating, these last two puzzles, and this one in particular. And I'm still going through this process of trying to notice what I'm supposed to notice. There's no way that this would be about the path that the water flows through the island, quote unquote. Is that somehow the answer? Is finding and retracing the path that the water takes? I don't think that works, because there's a lot of ground that is covered by the water. There's these various areas where the water just kind of pools up into a big lake. I don't think and it's really, it's very difficult to try to correspond or translate where that water resides in the environment and where it would be on a 9x9 grid. There is this path that kind of goes underneath the plateaus, sort of. It's this stone walkway does kind of go in a kind of a grid layout. There's a grid layout here. I just realized this very moment that, I wonder if that perhaps, why don't we take a screenshot here? Could that potentially, there's a world in which that goes across the board, or that goes across a 9x9, if we're thinking of this as the upper left. It's at least worth a shot. Now, do I also need to be considering this over here? Because this also has a sort of a, there's a, you know, it's also structured in a bit of a grid-like fashion. You can even see the grid laid out underneath these darker squares that are underneath or next to the minecart tracks are delineated with grid squares. So I should probably take that screenshot as well and see if those fit into things, because those are definitely both underneath the plateaus, right? They are in, like, this one is in kind of a, I guess, more of an optional puzzle area, but maybe it lines up somehow. This one, though, you don't need to get into an optional puzzle area. You just need to walk to the right spot. So let's at least give this a try. Okay, so now this still doesn't feel quite right. There's still very unsure about how this would potentially line up, but I'm at least going to, the fact that the walkway, the stone walkway, does have what look like little dashed lines that indicate, that would indicate, you know, a grid layout. It does make me think, it does make me wonder that maybe this could be our solution. Now the question is, what lines up to what? If I count, there's sort of a half square or a triangle that the way that the grass is cut off at the beginning, or the start of the path on the left, we could potentially say that that's the missing square here. And if that's the case, then we would go 2 down. We would go 1 over and 1 down. We would go 1 over and 2 down. And then we would go 2 left. And then we would go 2 down. And this is where my alignment has kind of screwed up, because I'm a little bit, it might not be screwed up if I do shift everything 1 upwards. If I instead say that this square here, that this is actually this square. So let's just move everything up by 1 square. Because if that is the case, then things could fit. And then there's like a rock right here that I have to go around. Now, here's where there is a bit of an issue, because, well, not sure. Not sure. This feels, it feels like we're not really using the fullness of the layout here. We can give it a shot. It felt like a long shot. Now, does this mean that I do, in fact, need to incorporate the other part? Oh, wait a second. What if... Oh, shit. I am wondering now, as I'm looking at these screenshots, I am wondering... Oh, man. Oh, man. This is actually lining up in a way that kind of makes sense. There is a way that this actually could make sense, because let's go back real quick to the overworld here, just so I can look at this in-game. The thing that I had noticed, the thing that I was realizing is that you look at the mine carts here and the way that this slices off here, and you kind of have like a triangle on this square here. And you also have the same thing here. Is it possible that that is supposed to fit together with this? That you have this is the bottom portion, right? And those two, the minecart tracks connect together with this pattern. And those create where your line is supposed to go on the overall 9x9. And now it's just a matter of actually accurately, you know, how does it actually align within that 9x9 grid? So then my mind starts thinking, well, perhaps we're supposed to look for something like this little blockage here. Is this supposed to be like the removed square on the 9x9 grid? And what about the two removed squares? The two removed squares in the bottom right. That's where I'm starting to be a little uncertain, because I don't exactly see, like, there's this little piece of sheet metal that's covering the mine tracks. There's the mine cart that's fallen over. There's the rocks that have piled up. And there is also this rock here in the environment. So it's a little bit unclear to me exactly how things line up, but let's try to connect those two paths together in some way. Let's at least try to connect those two paths, and we'll worry about how the path is supposed to be rotated. We can worry about that eventually, but if we can at least, if we can find that it makes sense that those two paths connect together on a 9x9, then this is starting to feel right. And then it's just a matter of putting together the last little bit of detail. So if, what are the ifs here? What are the ifs? I don't think that this, I was thinking that this, this marked square here, we had treated as that rock at the midpoint of the path in the grass. I don't think it makes sense that that would be this. It probably would make more sense that this is like that pile of rocks in the mine shaft. Yeah? Because that would it would kind of make sense in terms of how the grid is laid out. Why don't we do that? Let's take away this marker for now, and let's try to say that this is that pile of rocks in the corner of the mine cart tracks. So that would make, if that's the case, then it looks like we have to the right, we have 3. It goes to the right 3, and then it goes down 2. And is it 2? Yeah, and then it goes left 1, and then it goes down 2, and then it goes 3 to the right. This is starting to feel like it kind of works. We'll see. It would go, I think it would have to go up 4, and then it would go here. Well, it would have to stop there, right? Because it has no more room. Now, if I'm looking at the path in the grass would go here. Now this is where it starts to get a little iffy. This is where it starts to get a little bit iffy. Maybe... These don't actually connect together, do they? Oh, wait a second. No, I forgot. There's a whole nother part to this. I forgot, of course, the part that spans down from where the pile of rocks is. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes at least 7. Oh, and that's where it kind of stops, actually. So does that... This isn't exactly lining up the way that I was initially thinking, but let's see if that's okay. If we're gonna kind of say that, let's just say that the path in the grass goes like this. See, it's gonna touch here though. That doesn't quite feel right, but maybe it's okay. Maybe it's all right. But then it's gonna run into here. This is gonna be part of the... Oh, but then it goes off the map. This isn't quite working out the way I was... Okay, now let's... Another possibility here is that I have misaligned, that I'm not actually supposed to line things up, that maybe, like, the rock pile could actually be this square. It might not... I might have been making an incorrect assumption, and maybe this is all supposed to be lined up one square up here. Because that would give me the room that right now it feels I'm crunched by like one square. What if we did that? What if we said that the rock is actually part of, or is actually the rock pile corresponds to the top left corner. It might not be the top left corner, right? It could be the top right corner. I don't exactly know which corner it's supposed to be. Maybe it's even this corner down here. But the way that it makes most sense in my brain to start is to align it like this. And so then that would mean that if we're going down from there, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th square is the triangle. That's where you have... So that feels right. The fact that we finally have something in the environment that's right underneath the plateaus that lines up as a 9 square sequence. That feels like we're on the right track. And it's not just because we're dealing with minecart tracks. No pun intended there. Now, which part... Excuse me. It would make sense to me that the left-hand side of the walkway, the stone walkway in the grass, that's where that would line up. This would be the connecting point. The two triangles would connect at that point, and you would have the path that goes like this. You would have 2 to the right, and then you would have 1 up, 1 right, 1 up, 2 right, 2 down. Whoops. 2 right. Aha. And now we're not even, the path is not even going over. This is starting to feel correct because our path doesn't actually go through the missing squares here. It actually goes like this. And now this is where the rock is, at least in my mind. And the path goes around it like this, goes up here. And then it goes, this is starting to feel correct. This is starting to feel correct, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get there? Because now if I connect it from the other direction, I go like this. I actually go over 1 more. It goes down 2. Over 1. Down 2 more, I think. And then over 3. And then it goes up. I want to say it just goes like this. I want to say that makes sense. That is a snaky mazy dance floor. That makes sense. Ah! Wow. This is why I'm so stubborn. This is why I'm so stubborn in not wanting to look things up. Because it might take me literally months. But the sense of completion the reward that you get, the feeling in this moment of having finally noticed the thing that you were supposed to notice. And it's so funny how it happened too, because I was just thinking to myself, I was thinking, okay, I haven't noticed what I need to notice. Let me just walk around the island. Let me just walk around and kind of not shut my brain off, but put my brain in, take it away from hyper-focus mode. This hyper-focus serves me well in a lot of cases. It also gets me in trouble because it gets me so laser-focused on something that's not the actual solution or the detail that I need to notice. And so I was just, honestly, I had walked all the way up to the mines. I'd actually gone around through the shrine, and I had totally, not until I got to the mines and was looking around, I was thinking to myself, is there a square? Like, this was the overcomplication mode. Is like this the missing square in that 9x9 grid that corresponds to the overall world map? This is, I start in the mine and I'm gonna meander my way all the way down to the mill, and that's how I'm gonna, and I'm like, then I was like thinking to myself, this is totally this is like beyond overcomplication. That's not it, my dude. And then I noticed, oh, here's my shortcut. I actually have a shortcut right here that gets me, and not just there, but here, like I didn't have to go up through the mine. It's a very quick, short little path that I've unlocked, and I've been playing this game so infrequently enough to where I haven't memorized all of the different shortcuts through the world. And that's when I came through here. That's when I came through here, and I wasn't even thinking about it until maybe I got to this point, and I just realized, wait a second. This is a very structured path. This path is not just... there's grid squares here, and you can see the dashed lines, right? And then I meandered over to this side, and I was like, wait a second, there's a structured path here too. It's just sideways. And I had thought nothing of it until realizing that, wait a second, there are grid squares that have been laid out in this room. Very clever, Mr. Van de Vander. Very, very clever. Okay. That is 8 of 9 EPs. I'm honestly so fucking stoked at getting that solved. Like, this is what it's all about. Getting that, oh my God, being stuck on a puzzle for so damn long, and finally getting there. Oh, it feels so good. Now, the gardens. Can I get my brain into, can I get it to relax and notice the relevant details here? This one feels maybe even more frustrating than the plateaus, because at least with the plateaus, I had like a blank slate. Essentially, I just was like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at. In this case, it feels like I do know what I'm supposed to be looking at. It feels that way. Could be wrong, but it feels like we're supposed to be focused on these flower beds. If we're gonna incorporate the knowledge from this area that we've learned, the flower petals and the way that, depending on how you fill in the square that has the yellow and purple flower petals, that dictates how you are required to fill in the squares in the cardinal directions surrounding them, aka the petals. But the problem, that's not the issue that I'm having here is not a misunderstanding of how flower petal puzzles work. It's finding the challenge with maybe all of these environmental puzzles is finding how does the environment correspond to the panel? Where is the one-to-one correspondence? Like in the case of the plateaus that we just did, It's so clear. It's actually very explicit as to, oh, here are the grid squares. Like there might be some question marks on exactly what goes in like the top left corner of the overall 9x9 puzzle, but it's pretty dang square. It's pretty dang square. This puzzle. It's very clear to me what constitutes as a square on the actual puzzle panel, because you can see this is a square that I'm standing on that corresponds 1-to-1 with a clickable square on the puzzle panel back at the beginning at the start of the game. I have had no such luck. And that's the most frustrating part about this here, because I can see here there is a square that I'm standing on, right? There's a little square right here. And there's another little square right here. And there's another little square right here. The problem is I don't see how any of these correspond 1-to-1 onto the puzzle panel at the start. The thing that complicates things is the fact that I have these, if we're supposed to be, maybe this is a leap that I'm not supposed to make. This might be an if that you're supposed to throw out, but you would think that the EP would want to use these flower beds as one of, we've got 1 yellow and 3 purples. And you would think that this would be one of the squares on the EP puzzle panel, right? This here, as I'm walking around, this would be one of your squares. That's what my brain wants to tell me. And then you would have a square to the left, a square that's up above, a square to the right, and a square below it that would need to be filled in appropriately. One of them would have to be filled in if this square is filled in, because that's, you got 1 yellow, and then the rest would be empty. Or vice versa, if this were inverted. If this were empty, 1 empty square surrounded by 3 filled squares. The problem that just makes me honestly a little bit livid is that this square is pretty big. It's a sizable square to walk around, this flower bed. Where are the squares that reside in, like if I go to the left of this, there's no correspondingly sized square that's to the left. That makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense. There's up here, there's no square of the same size. And so I'm trying to, maybe this is literal brain getting stuck in something here, but I'm trying to take what I'm seeing in the environment, a flower symbol here, a flower symbol here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and I'm trying to take those and transpose them onto the EP panel that we've seen at the start. But I just don't see how that works. The other piece of information, which may or may not be relevant, may or may not be important, is the fact that we have a similarly shaped or a similarly laid out section of the gardens here. It just happens to be opposite, or it's mirrored compared to the section over here. But we just like with the 6 flower beds of yellow purple petals, we do see 6 snaky mazy dance floors over on this side, each of these being 5x5. Is that somehow supposed to be is it wanting us to, one idea that I just had is it wanting us to, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. This is immediately feeling like overcomplication, which is making me want to abandon it. I was thinking like, okay, if we're supposed to think about these in terms of the mirrored Like if I think about this flower bed here that's on the bottom right of this section over here, and then I come back to this Snaky Macy dance floor that's on the bottom left. This would be the one that is like its mirror twin. What information am I supposed to glean from this, though? That's where it doesn't make sense, right? This doesn't immediately click for me, and it makes me want to throw it out. And then, of course, you also have this trellis over here, which also doesn't really like the idea. I was trying to see something in the pattern of how the vine is laid out over the trellis, but that also feels like I'm reaching. Doesn't feel like it's clicking. We're looking for realizations that click. The other thing that kind of bugs me in these flower beds, you've got actually several of these that should be equivalent. The fact that you've got a single square of yellow and 3 squares of purple, that happens 4 different times here. However, the yellow square is in a different position in each case. One is upper left, one is lower left, one is upper right, one is lower right. And then you have 2 yellow, 2 purple, but inverted in each case. So these are all like distinct arrangements. The problem is I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how that's important. But it is a pattern there that I have noticed. Okay, I have reached a point with this puzzle where I've got to admit that I'm just stuck. I have mulled this over for now literally months. And I cannot get my brain into whatever headspace it needs to be in order to notice I'm not tuned into the right frequency here. So I have decided to ask one of my friends for a nudge. My buddy Sigma, who is also a content creator. I'll leave a link in the description over to his stream and his channel. But I think he actually got started with streaming. I think he said with this game, which is pretty cool. So, so I reached out to him for a nudge, and the nudge that he gave was, if we assume that the pink and yellow flowers correspond to a 2x3, do you see a good spot where that might go? And then, what would the remaining squares line up with? Good luck. That was the nudge. So, I think I had at one point thought about the idea that the flowers, there's 6 of them, and that would make sense that they could potentially line up as a 2x3. But then I didn't examine the idea too closely because it didn't immediately occur to me, if they are a 2x3, where's the rest of the puzzle? The rest of the squares that are actually the clickable squares, where do those go? Are they supposed to be somewhere? Yeah, that's the question. Where are they? They don't. If I'm thinking of like zooming out to like, you know, airplane view here, I don't think the rest of the surrounding landscape or environment doesn't, this rock facing and this grass doesn't seem like it would be part of a grid where this was a 2x3 cut out from the top right corner. So that's where my brain initially goes, and I think that's why I had quickly thrown out the idea that I should think of these flowers as the 2x3 cutout portion. Now, to be fair, Sigma's nudge does not directly say that the pink and yellow flowers correspond to the cutout 2x3 section. It says that if we assume the pink and yellow flowers correspond to a 2x3 area. So, but it would seem to make sense that that's the most significant 2x3 area in my mind, is the part that's cut out from the puzzle. So where do we go with that information? If these line up as a 2x3, what else would make sense then? Where would the rest of the squares go? I think maybe I just need to look around again. Now, with that new information, or with that new bit of direction, I think now we probably need to look around maybe the entire gardens area, not just the areas that I've been laser focused on, like the trellis, but maybe this area with the bonfire. And just try to get my brain to relax and consider new possibilities. Don't continue to be laser focused on what I have been. Just try to soak in new details in light of this new idea. Does any of this make sense in light of, like, if I were considering these snaky mazy dance floors as a 2x3, what else or where else could things line up? The rest of the puzzle. If we assume that the pink and yellow flowers correspond to a 2x3, do you see a good spot where that might go? Do you see a good spot where that might go? Do you see a good spot where that might go? That suggests that... What does it suggest? I feel very confused on this. I am really having trouble sorting out my thoughts, because it feels like there's a lot of different directions, a lot of different angles potentially to consider. Like, maybe it would help to just look at the panel one more time and actually be able to click the squares. Okay, so looking at this now, I'm reminded that, of course, we have the 2x3 that's cut out, but we do also kind of have... wait a second. Wait a second. There are... Okay, hold on. There is a 2x3 here. And there is a 3x3 that's below it in the environment, right? We could theoretically say that these here, this 3x3, could correspond to the circular panels or the circular platforms. Possibly. Now that does leave the remainder over here. The remainder over here, and I'm not exactly sure what that would apply to. But we could potentially... Is that what I've been missing this whole time? Is not thinking as holistically as I should. That the Gardens EP is much more spread out, and I have been overlooking portions of the gardens that could actually be utilized for this. I think, because now I'm wondering, the trellis might make sense. If, okay. This is what might be the case. If this is a 2x3, if this is the 2x3 that has those 6 flowers that we've been like laser focused on, what if the cutout section is actually where the bonfire is? The snaky mazy dance floors that are just used for the bonfire, we cut those out because those don't come into consideration. Don't worry about those. But do consider the circular platforms which I think each have a single yellow-petaled flower. We'll look at them again here to be sure. And then you have another 3x3 for the remainder that's below this bonfire section, and that's where that trellis is with the single 2 yellow, 2 purple flower. And maybe it just goes in the middle. You know, I may not be able to exactly line things up as a 3x3 here, because that trellis is not a 3x3, it's like a 5x13. But the only important detail is maybe that it's in the direct middle. Just put it in the middle. Don't worry about lining it up exactly 1 to 1. Okay, this is the first time. This is the first time with this puzzle that I have felt like I have with the other EPs. It took a nudge, a very helpful nudge, but it finally feels like, okay, maybe this is it. Because every other EP, when we eventually got the solve, had this feeling of, aha, this is what we're meant to notice. Ah, interesting. Okay, it's not all, oh, well, so this is, all right, now we might have a little bit of, there might be a little bit of complication here because we have to consider the fact that the symbols on these 9 panels, this is a 3x3 here, the symbols here, the flowers, can be changed depending on where we put these bridges. So, does the EP actually want all 9 of these squares to be filled in like this? Do we care about these at all? Or are these just... How about for the sake of simplicity, for now, so we don't drive ourselves too crazy, we can test to see if, you know, these flower symbols don't count. It would make more sense to me. I would feel a lot better. The world would just feel aligned if I don't have to worry about these symbols on the puzzle panel. That might not be the case, but I would love it if I don't have to worry about any of these and just pretend that they're empty squares. Could we live in a world where that works? Maybe. The other thing over here is, I think based on what I can see of the trellis here, the idea of putting this in the, it's not a 3x3 necessarily, but put it right in the middle of a 3x3, and you might be good to go. And then treat these as a 2x3. That's what makes the most sense here, based on that new way of thinking. So now, let's give it a try. I really, really, really hope, I hope this is it, and I also hope that it doesn't involve the flowers on the circular platforms. I want it to not, life is gonna be so much less of a headache if I don't have to worry about those. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, so now this is interesting because we've had puzzles though before where we have the flower symbol behaves well enough where you can kind of pack it into a condensed space. They can all be right next to each other, and there's usually still a world where it works, especially because in this case, we get to pick what each flower symbol is on. Well, you know, maybe we do, but it might, depending on what we pick for one, it may dictate all the others. So we'll see. It's just been so long since I've actually solved this. This episode has been spaced out over months, actual months, because I've been so stubborn about wanting to solve this for myself or with as little help as possible. And so actually solving a panel that involves just flower symbols it's been a while. And so I think I'm remembering now. Let me pull up my screenshot here. I'm remembering that oftentimes the rules, what you set for one symbol is going to really heavily affect the adjacent symbols. So this symbol up here in the top left is a single yellow. They're almost all single yellows. They're all single yellows. Let's make another assumption, which I hope is correct, that the detail that I've noticed before where they are arranged uniquely, the yellow petals being in different places for each of the flowers. Let's assume that doesn't matter and pray that it doesn't. There's a couple assumptions here that we might have to re-examine if we don't get the solution here. I'm hoping this is the case. Or I'm hoping that we get the solution. I'm hoping that's the case. And that we don't have to re-examine those assumptions. Okay, top left is a single yellow. So one of these squares here, if I fill this in, has to be filled in as well. Does that, I get a choice. And the fact that this square here is a single yellow and this square is a double yellow probably means that actually, can I do this? Am I capable of doing this? If this is a double yellow, oh right, I get to put petals down here. That's right. That's right. So I think it makes sense for us to fill in this one, and then this being a double yellow can be satisfied by this arrangement. Now that does force these two to be empty. Correct, right? Because we have to consider all of the adjacent cardinal direction squares. Right. This is the fun of the puzzle solving. So now that this is a single yellow flower here, that means that one of these petals has to be empty, and I think that this one here has to be empty to make this guy happy. So that means this has to be filled, correct? Now, this is also this is a double yellow in the upper right. So a double yellow means that we've run into a problem. Is that true? Can I... Because now, if it's a double yellow, both of the yellow petals have to be on the board, don't they? Don't both of these have to be filled as a consequence? Or, hold on. Could I do this instead? Maybe I could do that instead. Because now... this might work. I think this would work, and then I would do this. So let's think this through. We have a double yellow here and a double yellow. Let's do this, actually. Let's go ahead and remove the markers for the single yellows, and that'll make it a little bit easier for me. So the markers are denoting the double yellows. If this is filled, then we can make it happy with these two. And if that's the case, if this is a single here, it's happy. This is a single yellow, it's happy with this guy. This is a single yellow, it's happy with this guy. And this is a single yellow, it's happy with this guy. I think everybody's happy. So now the remaining square, if our assumptions hold, that we don't care about the whatever the flower petals are on the circular platforms, we're just ignoring those. This is the last one, which we can kind of do however we want, because it's over here on the side, and it's not close to anything, so it's kind of happy with basically anything you do. Is that possibly a solution? No. Fuck. Damn it. Okay. So we've made some assumptions that we now have to re-examine. Probably the most important one is re-examining the fact that these are all potentially flower petals. They're flower petals that can be changed. We have the ability to change them. Would the EP actually have a different solution? based on what is actually the case in the environment at the moment, would it work like that? We've also made a pretty big assumption. Doesn't feel like a huge assumption, but it is perhaps a sizable one, that this trellis over here can just be condensed down to this 3x3. You know, that may not be the case. I don't know. But it feels right. It feels right to do that. And then the other assumption is the fact that those, the 6 flower beds are all kind of arranged somewhat uniquely. I kind of feel like that last one is the one that we want to kind of put to the back burner. I really don't want to think that they're going to pull. So far with all of the EPs, they've been... We've kept a pretty consistent rule or pattern. The EPs have all behaved consistently with their specific area. They haven't thrown in some major new curveball that you've never learned before. It's all been take the knowledge that you've gleaned, apply it now to the environment. So let's assume that that unique arrangement of the flower beds is just for aesthetic's sake. Let's hope. What I think we need to re-examine, though, is this 3x3. And I think the most straightforward start is to assume... Let's assume that whatever it is set as right now, yes, we can change it, but let's take the way that it is now and see if we can come up with a solution. Actually, would we go this way? Yeah. Let's just take a screenshot of how it is at the moment and see if, you know, it could be that the EP is just going to take whatever you've left it as, and that's going to be... You might be able to solve this multiple ways. The puzzle may be flexible enough that there are going to be multiple solutions that are valid depending on how this 3x3 is arranged currently. Let's do a screenshot. Really want this to be... I was so excited to sit down today to record. I had asked for the nudge yesterday, and I did look at it. I did look at it before heading to bed, and I was like, oh, huh? I was really confused by it, but I didn't want to think too much about it before sitting down to record. And but I have been excited about the prospect of maybe getting this solved. Hard to resist the excitement of potentially solving the last puzzle in the game. Could be. I want it to be. Okay, so basically all of the squares are single yellow petals, except for these two. These are both empty. Not empty, but 4 purples. So 4 purples means that the surrounding petals need to be inverted. This one's already happy. This one is happy now. Now, can we make the rest of these happy? The thing is, we might not be able to make this one filled in, because we kind of, if we're assuming that everything that we have in place here has to hold. Now this is very flexible, right? We could change this around depending on what we need. So this one is up in the air. Potentially we could do a lot with this. But the tightly packed 2x3, that one is a little more dependent on... Let's assume that holds, and let's build from that point. So if all of these are a single yellow, if all of these are single yellows, I can see that this square here kind of needs to be empty. And I guess that would make, if we have to leave this one empty, that would make this one have to be filled. We're already going to run into problems. Because now this square here, this is already running into issues. Because I can't make this square happy. Or can I? Or can I? Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. And then that square's happy. So now this is a single, these are both single yellows. And this one is happy. And this one is happy. Okay. Okay, we might be all right. These are, we haven't made this one happy just yet. If these are both required to be filled, that means we could do this. We could do that, but maybe we don't want to do that. I'm not sure yet. Not sure. We're saying these have to be filled. This one, oh, they're already happy with each other. They're already happy with each other. We had a puzzle that was like this. I think we had a puzzle underneath that opened up. I was looking at it the other day, actually, as I was mulling this over. I was looking at some of the previous puzzle panels. One of them did have like this crisscross arrangement based on the fact that the board was full of all single yellow petal flowers. And it kind of ended up with this crisscross pattern where you could just pair them off. So those two make each other happy, I think. Now what about these two here? This one is happy if it's empty. It's also happy if it's full, but then that doesn't make this happy. So we leave this empty and it's good to go. This one here, now that it has to be empty, that kind of means that this one needs to be filled. But that's good for us. We kind of wanted that to begin with. Are we good to go here? Because this is the last one. If this one here is empty, it's a single yellow petal, which this one here is good. This feels like it should work. Again, assuming that we actually incorporate the 3x3 as it is. I also have to account for the fact that I might be missing some details here. I am definitely prone to not... There could be some... Even if we've made all the correct assumptions, I may have just made a technical error with not making certain flower symbols happy. And we don't get any sort of individualized feedback, of course, on an EP. What if I'm assuming incorrectly that the 2x3 that is the bonfire, what if that is actually not meant to be cut out? Because I was looking at my screenshots again here, and there is kind of a world where you could theoretically say that this 2x3 is where the bonfire is. And it's actually like this portion up here is like the orchard or something that's cut out. Because and then this little 1x3 here could be the trellis, which would mean that it's not this square, but this square that's the flower. Potentially. Now, that could mean that, let's just try making that change. Let's leave the rest the way it is. And let's just try making this one change, which I think it requires us to do this. Or it would be this, right? One of these would work, but let's try it like this. Because I think we have to leave this one empty because this is for purple that needs to be set this way. Maybe? Oh my God. Oh my God. Hallelujah. Yes. Let's go. Oh my God, it worked. It worked. Thank you, Sigma. The nudge helped big time. Holy shit. That is our last EP. Now, that's our last EP. However, interestingly, that is not our last achievement. I'm going to double check Steam here. But I did not get the last achievement notification. Unless my sound's misfired, which sometimes they do. But, interesting. I had a big time assumption that I was thinking in my mind that that was going to be the last achievement. It was not. So, okay. Very, very interesting. This is lit up and nothing more. At least, not at the moment. It has not done anything. And so, that makes me wonder, oh, wait a second, though. Wait a second, this looks very different. This is very different, isn't it? Oh, what the hell? Wait a second. Do none of the puzzle panels work all of a sudden? Yo. I can't actually interact, although, can I change the... Okay, it's just... Okay, it's one of those things where they're solved already. Fascinating. So then, can I actually change this? There it is. The achievement was, I think it said white question mark? Oh, dude. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my God. Have we ascended? Oh my God. We've set free these little sprites? Oh, look at that. Wait a second. Wait a minute. We had some friends. We had some friends that were waiting to be let loose. Oh my goodness. Wow, look at this. Totally was not expecting this kind of a... I suppose this is the true ending. Oh my God. This is so cool. I don't think that's us. This is still one of our... Yeah, one of our new friends. Hi! They're looking around thinking, wait a second, these puzzles are already solved. What the hell? I thought we were coming here to solve some puzzles. Oh, the shrine music is the best. Oh, look at that. It's a monk. He seemed to be having a good time. This is amazing. Oh. That guy looked like he had a mask on. For working in the mines? Or was he up to no good? This is so not what I would have expected. I never have any idea what to expect. It's a blind playthrough. But this is this is so much fun. And I'm so glad we got the solve there. Holy shit. Oh my god, I had made one pretty significant assumption that fortunately we re-examined. That's what you gotta do. This one little sprite here though is not satisfied with the just landing on the island with the rest of their friends. This is why the achievement is called white? Once again, the music has been absolutely incredible. We do get another set of credits. Look at that! You may or may not be able to call it the true ending, because I think in the spirit of music by Zappa, I'm not sure if I'm saying the name correctly, but the music has just been phenomenal. I think both, David Van de Vander involved as well. His brother, I would assume. Wow. What a phenomenal game. The nature and the spirit of the game is such that probably one ending over the other is not considered to be true. They are complementary endings, right? Taiji, yin and yang. They can't live one without the other. So this is the complement ending. But it definitely feels like the complete ending for me. Thanks for playing. Thank you for making the game. This has been such a fun and at times frustrating experience, just like any puzzle game is. It looks like we're at a standstill here, like we were maybe previously, where we can re-scroll the credits to look here. But Gregor's Bednors. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that name somehow, but that might be ultimately like the puzzle design is phenomenal, and the discovery of the EPs and how they were built into the environment the way that they were. And it took me so long in some instances to months, in fact, and even with that, a little bit of help to reach the final completed state of affairs. It has been such an amazing journey. I am noticing, I think we noticed before, Jonathan Blow's name in there, the creator of The Witness himself, and of course the game that this game is heavily inspired by. It doesn't look like there's any, it looks like we kind of have to load out or reload our file here in order to reach a new screen, because I don't have any other, there's no other enter, a space bar. The escape key is the only one that seems to have an effect, and so we are going to use that to go ahead and load in the game file that we just ascended from. The ascended ending, I guess. But that's where we are going to wrap up Taiji. This has been such a fun experience for those who did hang around to the very end of this very convoluted, all over the place video. Thank you so much. If you did enjoy it, please consider doing the YouTube thing and hitting those buttons down below. This video game, we made it. I was not sure at times that this was going to be something that I did reach, because it has been just an absolute mind-breaking challenge. But I definitely think my favorite part of the game, the thing that's going to be most memorable for me, is going to be the way that the music, I love the touch of how the music would flow between areas, and you would even get different parts of the musical themes from each area would sort of like weave together depending on the puzzle that you were solving. I think that might have been my overall favorite part. But yeah, this has just been so much fun, And there are, if you're looking for more puzzle action, of course, be sure to check out Sigma. Shout out to him once again for his help in bringing this to its completion. I'll leave a link in the description for his channel. There are also some other puzzle playthroughs here on the channel. Baba Is You is another one that had me stumped forever and ever and ever and ever. Talos Principle has been fun as well. And maybe a game that is on my radar here that I've been hearing a lot of good things about is Blueprints. Potentially, I'm not promising that that's going to be here on the channel, but I am thinking about it. And do let me know in the comments if that is a game that you'd be interested in seeing. And yeah, this has been such a fun ride, and I'm glad we were able to finally bring it to a happy ending. So with that, thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.